Hi guys, today I am going to do a tutorial on my eyebrows. From this view, angle, whatever, they may not look terrible, but I am pretty picky about my eyebrows and like to keep them pretty decent. So I'm going to trim them, I'm going to pluck them a little bit, and I'm just going to show you guys how to shape them basically with, I have a Anastasia pomade, eyebrow pomade. It is called Ebony, and you can use liquid eyeliner, you can use eyeshadow, you can use this kind of a pomade, you can use kind of whatever works best for you depending on how dark or how light you want your eyebrows to be. So really it's, you know, your preference. So first thing I like to do, I'm going to use this brush right here, and don't mind, I apologize for the unique lines going on. I just dyed my hair because, you know, quarantine, I'm kind of going a little crazy, and so don't mind my spots where I missed. Okay, so the best bet you are going to have is using a pair of scissors that are used for like hair trimming. You can get really cheap ones at, you know, Walmart or Target, or you can buy actual ones if you like to trim your own hair or cut your bangs or whatever if you have some lying around, but do not use like craft or kitchen scissors because they're not the same sort of like fine point that you get with this. So they're not gonna work as well for trimming your eyebrows. If your eyebrows are not crazy like mine and just lay down, you don't necessarily need to trim them. But when I brush mine straight up, they get kind of wild, and I like to trim them so that they stay pretty decent. This isn't as crazy as they get. I did them not, you know, maybe 2 weeks ago, so this isn't that crazy, but yeah. So I'm just going in, trimming them along their natural line so I get like a nice straight edge. Careful, you can always trim more, but you can't add your eyebrows back on and you have to wait for them to grow back, so be careful not to trim too much. You can always keep going back over and adding a little more trimming. Also be careful that when you brush it back, you're not gonna like have a space that's like empty. So be careful trimming, like if you brush these down, trimming into that too much, because then when you brush it back, right here could be kind of like a blank spot. I've done that before. So you kind of want to keep them just the stray ones. So you don't want to go too crazy. And sometimes mine kind of stick out at this spot over here. So I'll go in and trim them a little bit this way. Just kind of going in and getting the loose straight ones. Sometimes I have a couple that go a little crazy right at the end there, but don't go too far or your eyebrows will have like a harsh edge and you don't want that. Now for this side, since I'm right-handed, I'm cutting against the hair, so it's easier to cut more hair. So be extra careful on your dominant hand side because it's easier to cut the hairs going against the way that they want to lay down. Okay, so that's pretty even. My eyebrows are finally growing in. I had sort of like right here plucked, and I realized the other day that then I needed to let them grow back in. So careful not to over pluck your eyebrows, because then sometimes they end up uneven and looking funny, and then when you try and fill them in, you're like, oh, why can't I ever get my eyebrows even? Well, maybe they're not growing evenly. So you kind of want to train them to grow evenly. So make sure they're in line with your nose, and then your point is going to be this angle right here, sort of middle of your iris. It's where you want the point of your eyebrow, and then end of your nose, end of your eye, end of your eyebrow. So it all lines up. So you don't want your eyebrow going past this line, corner of my eye, end of my nose. So same thing on the other side. That's how I figured out my eyebrow was trimmed too far over, because this right here, I had a blank spot right there of eyebrow. So I let that grow back in, and then middle of my eye, point right there, which it is, and then corner, corner, corner. Perfect. Okay, so we have nice even eyebrows. I'm just gonna make sure these ones aren't going too crazy right here. So yeah, this little like extra bit is what I'm gonna trim. Again, I'm trimming against the hair, so just be careful. And you just want it, like I have some stray ones that get really long at the end here. You can cut that one at an angle so that it doesn't go too crazy. Okay, now let me find my tweezers. Oh boy, where'd I set them? Oh, right here, sorry. Okay, so now I'm gonna go with the little spoolie end of a brush, kind of comb them how I'm gonna want them to be, so that then I can pluck hairs that are not where they should be. For this, I'm gonna use a little bit of a closer up mirror so I can see what I'm doing, but I'll try and make sure you guys can see what I'm doing too. Okay, so of course you wanna get rid of unibrow hairs. Mine are really easy to see because they're so dark, but if yours are not too bad, you can kind of go in. My sister uses a razor, but you have to be careful not to get too far over with those, so you can kind of do like a sideways razor if you want, or those amazing eyebrow little sort of like fine razor points. You can use those in between your eyebrows if that works better for you. If you keep up with it though, you can kind of train your hair not to grow there. And you only get like 1 or 2 hairs on occasion that are dark. So that works pretty well. All right, so in between is not too bad, thankfully. I'm just gonna trim a couple stray ones here. But again, it can, as soon as you start, it can be easy to start pulling at these ones. Be careful not to do that because then your eyebrows are gonna be going thin and you're gonna be losing that definition that you want. Also be careful, like if you've accidentally kind of brushed this out of the way a little bit and you're like, ooh, this one's all by itself, I want to trim it. Well, no, that eyebrow's giving your eyebrows the shape that you want. So if you want your eyebrows to angle, of course you can trim those hair, but I like mine to be like a square, right? So like straight up, straight over. So I don't want to trim the hairs that are in that little curve point. I want hairs to grow there. So it's good to think about that before you start going crazy with your trimming and plucking. I do like to kind of get occasional little ones that have gone too far above my brow line, but you gotta be careful because you can just start, it's like scratching at a scab or something where you just, don't go crazy, okay? So maybe the really obvious ones. So like over on this side, if I look really closely, it seems like, wow, I wanna like get rid of all that hair there. Well, maybe just like 1 or 2 of the obvious ones, not all of them, because you're gonna end up with hardly any eyebrows and it's gonna look bad and you're gonna be like, why did I do that? So be careful. I like to use tweezers that are like this. Oh, sorry, there's a glare. Oh goodness, my skin's too light. This sort of like straight point. You can use the sharp point ones if those work better for you, but I find I have a hard time grabbing hair when I do that. I don't know why, just maybe I'm not as advanced, but I struggle. I also get a few stray hairs, sort of, sorry, it's hard to see with all my purple going on, but I get a couple sort of hairs that like just randomly grow right in the middle right there. So I'm gonna pluck the ones that are really obvious, but the other ones, I mean, we're human. We have hair growing everywhere, all over our bodies. It's okay. So you don't have to go, like I said, don't go too crazy. Just a couple like really obvious ones. All right. Now this is the part that actually matters, is gonna be what's growing kind of out of line under my eyebrows. So start there with those ones. You want to try and grab the hair against the way it's growing. So if my hairs are growing this way, I want to come in from this way with the tweezers. Be easier to grab the hair, because if I'm trying to go this way, then I'm going to have to put my tweezers like straight against my skin and I don't want to poke myself in the eye. So come in at an angle against the direction that the hairs are growing. And just like quick little pulls. So make sure you have a good hold of the hair and do a quick little pull. It hurts a little bit, but it's not bad. So, and the more you do it, I mean, the more you do it, the more your skin gets used to it. So at first, if you have big hairs that you're trying to get rid of, might bleed a tiny bit, don't freak out, it's okay. The more you do it, the more your skin gets used to it. It's like shaving. Okay, so again, I don't need to go too crazy, because when I do fill my eyebrows in, some of these get drawn over, even though when I'm looking up close, I'm like, ooh, that hair's out of line. But when I fill them in, it's not gonna matter. So don't go too crazy. Okay, over here, just my stray couple ones. All right, almost there. Now I'm going this way, again, against my eyebrow, instead of trying to use my left hand, because I have a hard time with like precise fine movements with my left hand because it's not my dominant hand. So I'm just holding my tweezers backwards. Makes it easy. All right. Now, some people do this like literally every time they go to do their makeup. You probably don't need to do that. Even once a week is like a little bit much probably. I kind of do mine every 2 weeks. It's probably good. Okay. So now we have kind of a final look. Okay, so eyebrows, brush up this thick part of your eyebrow, this like right here, up, and then when you get to this peak, you're gonna start going over, and then of course, sort of down on this side. Now I'm gonna go in with this brush, sort of a typical eyeliner brush, with sort of a small little point at the end there, a little spoolie on the other side, and pomade, and get a little bit on end. Okay, so I like to start with careful little lines, kind of against, little dots almost against where I want like the base of my eyebrow line to be. You can go back in and define that more later, but that kind of just gives us that line right there. And like I said, I like mine to be pretty square, so I want this straight edge of the brush right there. And then I'm gonna take this very fine end of it and draw my straight line all the way across. The more product you use, the darker they'll be. Pretty basic. All right, one more product. And now I am just sort of filling in the spaces and getting over to the edge. Okay, now here is where the point is. So I'm gonna use the shape of my brush and the straight side, kind of use a combination of both, whatever's working for you that day, and do this straight spot. You can go in gently and then go in a little bit harsher after. All right, so we have that nice straight line there. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, compared to my other eyebrow, it's like, whoa, that's a lot. But if I'm gonna do a full face of makeup, this is okay. Don't be afraid. I always say, if you stop and look at your makeup at each step, it looks pretty crazy until you get to the final product. Okay, again, left side, trying to do with your right hand's a challenge. So it's a little bit different than my right eye. So, because I'm holding this, it's hard to hold it like it's hard. It's hard to use your non-dominant hand, and yeah. So now I'm holding with the, oh, sorry, it's hard to see. That sort of like small end. I'm using that to paint my bottom line. And that's just because that's what's comfortable for me. And I'm basically doing like sort of the mirror of what I did with my other eyebrow. So I'm doing this fine line like I did the top line, just because I have a hard time with my with my hand doing the opposite side of my face. Anyways, I'm sure practice makes perfect as usual with anything. So the more I practice, the better I probably will get at it, but don't worry if you're having a hard time. This one always ends up thinner than my other one. So you can already see that that's what's happening. So I'm gonna make a line a little higher and just kind of try and make it a little bit. I'm not quite to the bottom of my hair, so I'm gonna kind of fill in. The second eyebrow is always harder than the first because you have to make them match. Ooh, sorry, got a stray hair in my eyelash. Okay. All right, so we're kind of doing like catch up, trying to keep this eye up with that one because we want them to be uniform. It's always the challenge with makeup is try to make both sides look the same. That's why I like lipstick, because it's all just like one spot. It's a little bit easier. Okay, sorry, my mirror's in the way. All right, so this one, got that sharp edge there. Now it's a little bit sharper than my other one, so you can use your finger and just kind of go in and smooth it out. And of course, when I go in with foundation, I'm gonna cover it up and it's gonna be no big deal. So don't forget. The main thing you wanna focus is making them equal. Okay, so I'm just doing this sort of like last little part here. And I always manage to get a little bit right underneath there. But again, you can kind of just go in with your finger and fix it. Okay. Wow, my eyebrows are not even. Whoops, I got too excited. This is what happens, right? So I can kind of go back in with this one and make it a little bit of a sharper point to match. Or I can take away from this one. So there we go. All right. Pretty good. I think that I need a little more right here. Now, if trying to use the brush, do your eyebrows, freaks you out, you can go in with a pencil. You can just use, Mary Kay has an amazing building serum. I had to think of the word, sorry. So that you can go in and sort of just brush your eyebrows. It has like a little mini spoolie, so it's like smaller than this one. And you kind of just like brush your eyebrow and brush it over and you're done. It's a little bit simpler. But this is just quick, easy way I like to do my eyebrows. Of course, when I'm filming, I got this one a little bit too thick, but that's okay. So when I go in with my foundation and I have my little blending sponge, I can take it and kind of go up against my eyebrow and sort of smear the excess makeup off so that I get my straighter line, and then I'll just have a little here that I'll want to wipe off, and then I can go back over with foundation to touch it up. Everybody makes mistakes when they're trying to do their makeup, so don't stress, it's okay. But yeah, that's my quick little basic eyebrow tutorial. Feel free to comment, please like, please share. Let me know if there's anything else you would like me to do to show you how to do, or something you want to see me try out that you've seen in a new trend or anything like that. So just let me know, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, bye.